The Hisense U7G is an incredible television, and I don't need to spend 5, 10, 15, or however many minutes to tell you that. What I will do is tell you why it's a great TV, and maybe why you should consider it, and maybe some things I don't like so much about the television. If you like that kind of thing, smack a like on this video, because I'm getting to the point right now. So unboxing the television is super easy. Hisense gives you clips on the side of the television instead of making you grab scissors and snip and then pull your box up and over. And I think the ability to be able to reseal the box is just as important as the ability to be able to unclip the box, because when you have problems with televisions, as much as we don't want to admit that those exist, you're going to want something that's easy to pack back up. You don't want to be wrestling with duct tape and packing tape trying to, again, package it back up to send back to the store. So I think that's something that Hisense really thought of ahead of time, making it just a more consumer friendly option than literally every other manufacturer I've seen this year. Literally no one else that I can see right now in this market, especially out of the big three, namely Samsung, Sony, and LG, have anything anywhere near as convenient this year as what Hisense does with, again, just the product presentation and how easy it is to get in and out of the box. Reflection handling is something I think we do need to talk about first. That is one of the things I don't like so much about this television. Unfortunately, it does have pretty substantial reflection handling, and I will show multiple scenes of multiple trailers from video games and stuff like that to illustrate just how apparent it is. It's pretty glary, and it's something that you are going to notice if you have a bright window directly behind you or directly in front of the television. So I think that's something that you might want to think about, because it's not going to be a reflection champ. So I want to illustrate that very clearly. It's not the worst thing in the world in a moderately lit room, but for a room with a bunch of windows, glare is just going to pick up. Though to be fair, most every single television on Earth, for the most part, is pretty bad at diffusing direct sunlight on televisions from windows. So, I mean, that's just one of the downsides you're going to have to take. Now, out of the box, the experience wasn't all that great on the first unit Hisense sent me, and so they sent me over the second unit to see if it's any better. I'm glad to report that it is better, so at the very least, if you do get something that looks wildly overly green or something like that, you probably are going to have to send it back and play the panel lottery. Now, that's not ideal, but it is something that most LED TVs and TVs in general, if we're being honest, regardless of LED or OLED, any of that stuff, you usually have some sort of panel lottery on all these things with various amounts of defects, quality control issues, and things like that, that sometimes you do have to work out with the manufacturer and retailer. Now, that being said, it wasn't too bad. I was able to calibrate this up, and I can tell you the calibrated performance works like a dream. It's one of those TVs that really, they're kind of shocking given the price point. You see, this is a mid-range television targeting $1,000 and slightly above that. But I feel like this really answers a big need for the market looking for Dolby Atmos 120 hertz capable televisions, and not breaking the bank to do that while still giving you premium features like a hands-free voice control, which most of the other manufacturers don't have. And then, of course, there's their brilliant chrome design. I mean, like corner to corner, bezel to bezel, you're looking at absolutely premium, and I mean premium build quality. And that's one of the things about Hisense that I've always really appreciated. They've gone the extra mile this year, though. And you can see it really when you talk about those black levels. The black levels are just really, really strong. Now, they're not perfect, and they're not going to transcend the limitations of an LED. You can still run into gray areas when bright highlights kick up on the screen, but at the end of the day, the black uniformity is really impressive, and so is the gray uniformity or near black. Now, colors are something that really shocked me, because most mid-range televisions usually see a color reduction of some sort. However, I really couldn't find a substantial color reduction on this particular model, because they've really, again, just gone the extra mile, making sure that they're giving you that QLED quantum dot ULED color. Everybody has a different name for it, but essentially the quantum dot technology is really looking extremely good on this particular display. Now, highlights are one of those things that really help this, because the highlights are very strong, they're really boosted, and everything looks extremely good. So from that perspective, it's really great. You do have some banding on this particular television, so unfortunately there's no smooth gradation feature. So that is something you are going to run into from time to time. Also, it's not the best for streaming. You're going to notice that sometimes streaming can look a little soft. You might see some dropouts in your stream. So there are some things that are going to go a little bit missed here. It's not the perfect TV, but it is a great TV. Input lag is really responsive. You won't have any real problems with the input lag you're going to have on this display. And again, when you talk about the motion is okay. It's not the best I've ever seen. It definitely has room for improvement, but it is good, especially once you start getting to 60 FPS and higher. Then motion just gets insanely good, and then you really don't have any issues to speak of at all. So I really hope that like maybe Hisense can button up some of their other issues because they really do have a phenomenal TV this year. The speakers aren't really anything to write home about, though they are room filling and sound, at least as far as your trebles and your mids are concerned. And the weight of the TV, surprisingly, isn't all that heavy, given the fact that they're using metals like chrome on the bezels. So that's something that's really nice to think about. Now, when I say chrome on the bezels, I just mean at the bottom, there's more of a metallic nature, and then the backing, the chassis of the television is also metal instead of plastic like you see on some so-called high-end TVs. So Sony, Samsung, LG, they really do have to take a page from Hisense in that regard because Hisense is building some luxury quality TVs, but keeping the weight down, which is really important. Now, because this is a ULED television, a quantum dot television, LED in nature, you are not going to run any risks of burn-in. I do get those questions from time to time. No, there will be no risk of that, quite obviously, because it's not self-emissive if you are familiar with the technology. And if you're not, there you go. Now, as far as the remote, it's backlit, which looks absolutely incredible at night. It's not the brightest backlit remote I've ever seen, but it's enough to get the job done. But the features that it provides you are more than enough when you talk about the user interface and interacting with the remote and everything. You have all the smart controls that you would expect, and apps are laid out the way that they've been laid out in the Google system for years, for the most part. So again, when you talk about is it worth the price, I think honestly, yes. I really don't see too many TVs doing what this one does, giving you all the bells and whistles and really giving you such a phenomenal picture quality that just really blows me away, quite frankly, in a way that I didn't really expect. Now, as far as customer service, if you do have any issues with Hisense or anything like that, Hisense has a 100-day guarantee going on where essentially you buy your TV and for the first 100 days, you can just benefit from that. And I think that's one of those things that's just super ace. And I think if you're any kind of on the fence, that kind of helps seal the deal a little bit for it. So genius thinking on Hisense's part, and I found that they've really done a good job with the customer service this year. Like they're really attentive is what I'll say. Like when you have a problem, just even regular people, they make it a point to email you and to get back to you in a timely manner instead of putting you on some long waiting list like Sony especially will do to you. And I think that's one of the things I have appreciated the most interacting with Hisense is the transparency that I've seen. And some of my members and some of the subscribers here have also seen the same thing. And I think that's very important. So all in all, I think it's up to you now to decide what you would do personally. But as for me, I think the Hisense U7G is an extraordinarily good mid-range TV. And I think it's worth the look. I want to thank you guys so much for watching the #1 brand in honesty. And until the next video, I'll see you guys later.